I mean, it was quite an easy decision for me. This has unearthed something terrifying, and I don't meet a lot of spaces within myself that terrify me. And it's like, okay, this needs to be looked at. We can't just brush this under the rug. I mean, I could choose to go back to sleep and brush it under the rug, but I don't live my life that way. It's like, okay, this has been brought to the surface and we need to keep meeting this.
On Faces of Five, I speak with people about their 5-MeO DMT experiences working with me. Learn more at chadcharles.net. Hi, Carly Rae.
Hi, Chad.
Hi. I want to, I have so many curiosities about experiences you've had with five, which goes, back quite a number of years. But I also have curiosities about just getting myself updated with you because we change and we evolve and we transform. And you're in a very different setting than when I had my, you know, precious moments with you. Maybe just tell me, where are you? What are you doing with your life? And what do you like about it?
Mm. I'm in northern BC right now. My partner and I, my to be husband and I, we bought 80 acres up here and we are building a retreat center on our property for me to do all my women's health work that I do. We also, in the last 4 years, have gotten 7 horses, and my work is transitioning into doing the women's health work along with equine therapy work.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I'm in a place that I never had the possibility to see for myself. You know, my brain never could have conceptualized this without. I know the work that we did together was foundational into opening myself up to receive this life that I'm living
Mm.
100%. Um,
Mm.
and it just I wake up every day and I see the Seven Sisters mountain range, and like I'm living a waking dream right now, and it's amazing.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that puts a huge smile on my face. Yeah. Awesome. Well, so you've been there for 4 years, and it was 8 years ago, I believe, the first time that we had a session. And over the years, you had a handful of sessions.
Yep.
And I'll start maybe going off a little chronologically. I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, when you first had your session, I believe that was your first not only guided psychedelic session, but it was your first time with a substance in
It
that kind
was
of setting or in a
in that
psychedelic
kind of
substance?
I'd consumed mushrooms before,
Okay.
but just as a, party
Yeah.
drug. So that was my first time in a ceremonial guided setting with I would say, more substantial psychedelic than mushrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
And an intention.
Intention. Yeah. Deep
Yeah.
intention. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember back then, like, what was the intention? What drew you to go into a session like that?
Well, I was at one of the hardest moments of my life when we first sat together. It was, I don't know, a few months after I think the hockey bus crash that my brother was involved in. And I had never experienced any sort of depression, suicidal ideation in my life up until that bus crash. That bus crash really deeply affected me. And my intention was to, you know, rewire my brain,
Mm.
essentially.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Big intention and something very new, right? So you're really you're not going into something that is known for you going into that first session. There's something new. What what did that first session bring you?
That first session brought me to my knees. Sure. It wasn't life didn't get easier.
Mm,
It brought many things to the surface, patterns, repressed memories, and it brought this, like, really shaky foundation of, like, who am I and what life am I really leading myself into right now? And life got a lot harder after that first session, but that hardness was absolutely necessary, you know? Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
can.
like everybody touts they did their psychedelics once and life just, like, radically changed for the better. That wasn't the case, but that I know I got handed exactly what I needed to be living in this moment that I'm living in right now. Because the life that I'm living now is, like, so fucking hard. And it's still the waking dream. Like,
Mm,
I really can't stand this idea that our dream life is meant to be pure ease,
mm, mm, yeah.
'cause I don't think it is supposed to be,
Mm,
you know? And every single time that I've sat with 5, it's like, "Okay, are you ready to really see what you're made of?"
hmm. Wow. Right. So it didn't complete a process. That first session catalyzed
Open,
a process.
catalyze a
Yeah.
process. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And that first session with you, you kept repeating to me, "All is well." And that is all is well has stayed with me for these 8 years through everything that I've been through. It's like, "All is well." And I just hear your voice and I hear those words, and it's no matter how hard this is gonna get, all is well.
Yeah. Sometimes tough to swallow in certain
Yes,
moments.
absolutely.
And because it's tough to wade in our struggles, for lack
Yeah,
of a better word, and being handed an absolute truth. It doesn't always translate in the moment, but it doesn't make it any less true, especially, after years and years, it still rings true for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So a process is opened, catalyzed, first session, something very new, hard. Like,
Extremely hard. I thought I was dying.
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, fuck. I just fucked up. I ain't coming back."
Mm. So
And I didn't.
then,
It was a catapult into a new person.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess you didn't know who that person that was being born was yet.
No,
Yeah.
no idea.
And so eventually you decided to go back, despite what it opened up for you. That
Yeah.
wasn't that easy. You decided to go back to the medicine. What led you to come back? I could reasonably imagine somebody saying, "Oh, I'm not going there again." All right. But you chose to go back. And how did you come to that?
I mean, it was quite a easy decision for me. It's like,
Mm,
okay, this is unearthed something terrifying, and I don't need a lot of spaces within myself that terrify me. And it's like, okay, this needs to be looked at.
mm,
We
yeah.
can't just brush this under the rug. I mean, I could choose to go back to sleep and brush it under the rug, but I don't live my life that way. It's like, okay, this has been brought to the surface and we need to keep meeting this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know already before the second session? Did you know already, like, what it was, like what there was in terms of, was there specific material and content from your psyche, from, like you mentioned, repressed experiences, memories? Was that Was there clarity around that, or was it
No,
just a sense?
it was just a sense.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. And when in your trajectory was there a like a focus on that you could identify and recognize some of the content?
I mean, uh, at least I would say it really didn't happen, like, where I was like, "Okay, I'm really starting to understand the content or the subject," probably our 3rd session.
Hmm.
You know, it took time, but I just knew. I've always been the type of person who listened to the breadcrumbs that my body, that this life lays down for me, right? It's like, "Okay, this is a breadcrumb that we have to follow."
Mm.
I like it, the choiceless choice.
Right.
This is being offered, you have to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And so maybe, mm, if you will, give us a glimpse into like what was there a moment in your third session where there was clarity or there was like a glimmer of like, oh, this is what we're looking at? Like, was it personal? Was it transpersonal? Was it archetypal? Was it primordial? Like what was it that you finally got to like, aha, okay, I think I get it.
I mean, there's been so many layers to it. I definitely the first 2 sessions felt like I was just being forced into submission,
Hmm.
and that pattern has been a very big pattern throughout my life and most likely previous lives. And it was in the 3rd session where it's like, "Okay, you don't have to take the hammer here. You can learn to
Mm.
surrender instead of being forced into submission." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there was this, if I just bring in my own memory to that trajectory, there was like a major difference that transpired over time. Like at least, when I see you through the snapshot, the lens of my, these containers, um, there's, there's a change in the way that there's intensity that's lived. I mean, and speaking of intensity, I think you experienced the intensity that is or was you it to, in a huge degree. And I see you nodding. And I remember you saying, I'm sure my neighbors are like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Yeah.
So there's expression, there's in those moments, where obviously there's something loud, there's something expression, there's like, what is it that moved you? What's the animating force in your mind's eye in those moments?
I mean, I feel like there has been so much repression in my system that sitting with 5 allowed me to open up enough so that all that repression could move through. The animating force, I would call God,
Mhm.
right? The repression, the numbness, the disconnect all kept me shut off from God and life being able to actually move through me and express through me. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Well said. It brings me closer to those moments. And just, the word unleash comes to
Yes,
mind.
totally.
Um, that kind of like the real definition of catharsis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I remember and we haven't even kind of reached kind of like the your last sessions. Really, we're kind of like in the middle of it here in the chronology of things. And if I remember, part of our dialogue together was about what's yours and what's not, in the sense of what have you lived, like what's repressed in your lifetime, and then what's coming through you from lifetimes before you,
Yeah.
or what's coming through you from like the big all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember these conversations and these, we're kind of playing with frameworks as we kind of like determining of like, okay, is what's being unleashed from your own story since you were born, or has that been a part of your story kind of even before you were born?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it like now, years back? I mean, I think it was clear for you some time ago, but is it kind of one or the other? Is it all of it? Like, what was it for you?
I mean, over the years, in combination with doing, working with some highly skilled trauma practitioners,
Mhm.
and I really feel like the 5 started the beginning process of thawing my consciousness out and, removing layers of amnesia, and then I took it deeper with other modalities, and so now looking back, it's definitely a combination of it all, but for sure some deeply personal layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and like, one of the things that I'm just so grateful for being able to sit with 5 is been this drawn out journey
Mm.
with it, It's not like we didn't do 8 sessions in 8 days, we took years
Yeah. Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
So if the first one catalyzed and opened a process, over the years, what would you say, did each one catalyze and open a new process?
for
Did
sure.
it, is that right? Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's definitely one of my hardest lessons has been surrendering open to life, because 'cause
Mm.
I'm just very much the person who's just, like, needs the fucking Mack truck, the hammer, and that was a whole journey throughout every session, for sure, and our last few sessions took me to a place where it's like, "Okay, this doesn't have to be painful and terrifying. This can be bliss." And me learning, especially when I'm working with medicine, how to choose my thoughts and what direction I wanna go. It's like, okay, do you wanna go to that old fucking drug out pattern of getting hammered by life, or do you wanna experience something new? And I really started to learn and hone in on that
Yeah.
over the time with our sessions. And I remember one of our last sessions, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but you're explaining it's like, this is vibrational medicine and you choose, we're gonna enter into a completely new vibration. There's no going back after this, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And that just is like, I wanna keep choosing to have these moments where we're not going back anymore. We're keeping moving forward, right?
Hmm.
And I really hung on to that. That really landed in me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah. Yeah. You're living it, you're wearing it, and there's more.
Exactly.
And the way you described it really matches my own memory, I guess, over the years of the trajectory, kind of not an arc so much, but a trajectory. And that I would describe that as going from intensity and feeling like the intensity is required, at least right now. But then learning that, okay, what I saw as required is also a pattern
Yep.
or a habit. It's like, this is kind of my MO.
Yep.
And do I want to change that? And then towards the end, and there's like, and for me as from a practitioner standpoint, we didn't really change the format of the sessions. They didn't really
Yeah,
evolve, right? We worked with high doses, but what changed was how you received them, right? So in my own language, it was like you allowed yourself to experience the same thing in a more relaxed way.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that consistency, I think, was really helpful for me to understand, like, just how developed your own surrender had become.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it really felt like at the beginning of working together, fighting life, you know? Okay. We're not fighting anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do you think it's something that you would come back to now? You know,
absolutely.
what do you think it would be? What do you think it would be now? You know, it's not something that we can really predict. And yet, after the number of sessions that you've had over years with enormous changes that you've applied very, very practically in your life, why would you come back to it? What do you think it would bring you?
Well, I still consciously and very intentionally sit with medicines. I sat with ayahuasca in the fall, and
Mhm.
it'd been a few years since I'd sat with ayahuasca, and I always wanna be reminded of my humbleness. Medicine is a very good humbling medicine,
Mm.
you know? Psychedelics humble me, which is always a very good thing, and, my human ego gets in the way, and it is I have found out of everything that I've done, sitting with medicines is one of my greatest tools for
Mm.
working with my ego.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know that I'm a person who's not, and this is why I, even though I was terrified at the beginning, 'cause that first session just rocked me. It's like, "Okay, we have to keep saying yes because the person that you are who you are meant to be is so much greater than you can conceptualize, and these tools are here to help us become who we are meant to be," right? And I am here 100% for my soul's incarnation. I'm not here to live some mediocre existence, and I wanna use these tools to my advantage,
Mm.
right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I hear you, and I can my own my own intention for going back to these experiences, and not just five, like you said, lots of other wonderful sacred ways is that there's something that one I forget.
Yeah, exactly.
It's normal, I
Yeah,
think, and two, it does catalyze or accelerate something that's already happening.
exactly.
And sometimes I don't know that what is happening. But when the acceleration process begins, then I'm like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yeah,
I see. Okay, how can I get in line with that?
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's
Is there?
very easy for the cage to come back on in
Yeah.
this world,
Yeah.
right? And it's like,
Totally.
let's fucking get rid of that.
If you could have a little call or even send a little voice message to yourself in early 2018, knowing that you were, going to come into this experience with five for the first time, and you just wanted to drop yourself a little note, what would you say?
Hmm. I would say, "Sweet girl, go gently."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's play with that a little bit. What would you, if you could now send me a little voice note in early 2018 in anticipation of you having a session, what is the note that you would leave me?
Mm. I mean, my trust in you is immense. And like your words, like all is well, has carried me through so much in my life over these last 8 years that I don't know if I would, you know, because that was just so, because I know I needed to have that experience. It needed to be that hard, but I also needed a man holding me through that, saying all is well.
Hmm. Well, let's follow that a little bit. Like, what's it like? What was it like for you to be be in that receiving? You're a participant, and it's a private session. You're not in a group work, and you're with a man.
Yeah.
What? How did that part play a role in your first experience or any of them?
I mean, deeply vulnerable, and it's this also deeply intimate work that we're doing. I don't know if there's like much more intimate work to do with a man and a woman, truly.
Hmm.
And it, looking back now with foresight, it helped me in relating and trusting the masculine in general in a way that I don't know if I would have accessed without our sessions together.
Hmm.
For me to, because in my experience, it's been easier to go deep and open in that way with women. So to be able to go and open in that way with a man, it created a new foundation for how I relate to men.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that's the impact. Do you think that it played a part in, I don't know, the intensity in the
For sure.
session itself?
For sure. Because it definitely felt like a lot of the repression and amnesia was around sexual abuse.
Right.
And I don't think that would have come to the surface if I was sitting with a woman,
Huh.
because my sexual abuse didn't happen by a woman, right? So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's so, there's such a, not that we went into that with that, like we were conscious of that.
Yeah, no,
And
not
we
at all.
and we named that, and at the same time, these are kind of unintended gifts, or there's just a way that a setup is the key that locks a particular door or unlocks a particular door, and that seems to be one of them. It's not like
Yeah,
we designed it that way, but we were aware
yeah,
of the dynamics there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that's part of the beauty of just trusting the medicine and knowing that you're gonna get what you most need, you know?
But not everybody knows that, right? To
Yeah,
come to that is something, almost like a little bit of a benchmark
yeah.
in ourselves of like, oh, I can trust what emerges. I mean, did you have that trust in 2018?
I mean,
I think you might have.
I think I did, because otherwise I wouldn't have gone back,
Hmm.
because things got so hard after that first session, and it's like, "Okay, this is what is supposed to happen."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing. Yeah, I guess there's such a there's a few touch points that I think that are really helpful to for me and probably others listening and watching, of like coming into guided medicine work for the first time with five, right? Not MDMA, not these things, but choosing five,
Yeah.
and just like you're not sugarcoating things. It was hard.
Yeah.
and there wasn't real like nearing resolution or completion of certain processes until a few sessions.
Yeah, it took
And
time.
and that's okay.
Exactly. One of
It's
the
not
things that
comfortable.
like, when my normal everyday life gets hard, I remember how hard those moments were, and I remember all is well, and I remember that I didn't die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose there were moments in those sessions where you thought you might.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. Well, maybe my kind of last question, I'm just kind of thinking of like the what what others can just learn from your experience with this medicine. We looked at, what message you'd give to yourself. Maybe is there a message that you'd give to someone else who's considering going into this work for the first time?
I mean, I think some of the greatest work that we can do in this life is engaging in the gifts and the medicines that help us become free souls.
Hmm.
Yeah. We're not meant to be caged. We're not meant to be robots. We're not meant to be enslaved. And 5 has been definitely one of the greatest gifts in helping me free my mind, my soul.
Thank you. That
You.
itself is a gift to many ears and eyes tuning in with us. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you, Chad.